Hi, this is Jason Stempel. This is part 1 of a 2-part tutorial. In part 1, we'll use Excel to analyze a campaign in AdWords to learn which ad position is performing best for one of our clients' higher cost campaigns. In part 1, we are going to analyze keyword positions for click-through rate, conversion rate, and cost per conversion so that we can determine the most effective and efficient position to bid towards. In the second part of this tutorial, we'll increase our analysis to include the volume of visitors, conversions, and spend to help us see where opportunities might be to improve the performance of the campaign, such as shifting traffic from poorer performing positions to better performing positions. I'll show you how to forecast the financial implications of that tactic so that the client can understand their choices for either keeping things running as they are or increasing their investment to secure more of a better performing ad position for a greater projected return. Let's get started. In Google AdWords, open a high-cost campaign. High-cost campaigns are always top priority because you want to ensure that your client's high-cost campaigns are running the most efficiently, since that's where the most money is being spent. Note it's wise to optimize the highest costing campaigns before working to optimize the lower costing campaigns so that those high-cost campaigns don't burn a big hole in your client's pocket. Change the date range to 3 months because we want to look at enough time that the data allows us to see a trend. Go to the Keywords tab and make sure in the columns we have impressions, clicks, cost, average position, and conversions. If those columns aren't visible, go to Customize Columns and add them. Click on Download Report. Click on Segment and choose Time and then Week. And we're choosing to segment by week to keep our data set a reasonable size. If instead we chose to segment by day, there'd be too many rows of data to work with. Now we're ready to create the report. Now that we have the report open in Excel, let's change the name of the worksheet to the date range of this report so we can delete line 1 for cleanliness sake. June 1st to August 31st, 2013. Now scroll over to the right to the average position column. See all these decimal places? When we think about the position of our ads in Google, we don't think about them as decimals, we think about them as whole numbers. Is my ad in 1, 2, or 3 at the top of the page, or position 4 through 11 in the right-hand column? So what we're going to do in our next step is make a pivot table, and we're going to group these decimal places to consolidate them into ranges, which is going to make our pivot table a lot easier for us to look at and analyze the data. Let's do that. Select all, choose the Data tab, and create a pivot table. Now, when you open the pivot table builder, if anything is in one of these 4 quadrants, just chuck it off to the side. We want to start with a fresh pivot table. And then in the field name, scroll down until you find average position and drag that into the row labels quadrant. So you'll see here that we have all of these decimal places. To consolidate them into groups, I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to select the first data point, and then I'm going to Control-click and choose Group and Outline, Group. But if you're on a PC, you can do the same thing by selecting the first data point, and then in the pivot table options, you would choose the Group Fields tool. In the options box that opened up, I want to change the starting range to 1. We'll leave ending range at 10, and we want to count up by 1. I could change this number to 2, and then it would count up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, but I want to see the individual positions of my ad placements in Google, so I want to count up by 1, and then click OK. Look at how nicely it shrunk up all of that data. Now we're going to insert 3 different calculated fields that calculate the initial key performance indicators that we intend to analyze, which are click-through rate, conversion rate, and cost per conversion. I'm working on a Mac, so to do this I'm going to select the Formulas drop-down that's within the Pivot Tables tab and select Calculated Fields. However, if you're working on a PC, this can be achieved in the Pivot Table Options tab by choosing the Fields, Items, and Sets tool. I'm going to name this Calc CTR for Calculated Click-Through Rate. I'll delete the 0, double-click on Clicks, divide it into Impressions, and I'll click OK. And you can see that it's made a new column for Calculated Click-Through Rate. Now I'll repeat this process for Calculated Conversion Rate. Calc Conversion Rate. I'll select Conversions. Divide it into clicks. Okay. And I'll repeat this process one more time for cost per conversion. Cost per conversion. And this time I'll select cost and I'll divide it into conversions. Conversions. There we go. Okay, now we'll format these three new columns. Click-through rate and conversion rate, which are the first two columns, should be percentages with 2 decimal places of padding. So I'll click percentage, and then I'll pad it 2 times to the left. And then cost per conversion should be dollars. And finally, I'm going to rename my worksheet Pivot Position, and I'm going to drag it to the right of the report that we downloaded. Now that we have our pivot table, we want to preserve it. So select all, copy, and create a new worksheet. In the first cell of the new worksheet, paste special. Make sure values and number formats is selected and click OK. Now let's rename this worksheet Position Analysis. We want to apply some conditional formatting from position 1 and 2 all the way down to position 9 and 10. We're going to apply green to red conditional formatting on the first column. We're going to do that also on the second column, but it's important that we didn't select the 2 columns together because we don't want our conditional formatting looking at column 1 and 2 as one data set. We want the conditional formatting to be applied to each column as a separate data set. And now in the third column, we're going to apply conditional formatting, but the opposite way. We're going to do it from red to green. By analyzing, we can clearly see that position 1 and 2 are the winners, as they have the highest click-through rates and highest conversion rates, which are colored green, and the lowest cost per conversion, which is also colored green. In part 2 of this tutorial, we'll pull more data into the pivot position pivot table so we have a better understanding of the volume of visitors, conversion, and spend, which could be helpful for us to see where opportunities are to improve the account. One strategy could be shifting traffic from poorer performing positions to better performing positions. I'll show you how to calculate the financial implications tied to that strategy. Again, my name is Jason Stempel. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up or a +1, share it across the web, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.